Chosen one, massive blackout is announced by God. It's happening, chosen one. The hour has come when heaven will draw a curtain over the world's stage, and the lights that men trust will flicker and die. This is no ordinary blackout. It is a summons from the throne, a declaration from the one who holds time and seasons in his hands. The earth has grown loud with the clamor of pride, the boasting of flesh, and the worship of false lights. But God is about to still the noise. In this sacred silence, those who have eyes to see will behold what the blind cannot. It will feel sudden to many, but it has been written in the invisible for ages. This is the moment when the outer world dims so the inner world may blaze. Fear not when darkness covers the land, for you, chosen one, carry a light the world did not give and cannot take. The blackout is not the end, it is the unveiling of beginning. God has been preparing in secret. The blackout as a divine reset, chosen one. The world has grown intoxicated with its own noise, blinded by its own glitter, and convinced that the light it has created can outshine the light of the Creator. But the hour approaches when heaven will reach down as if with a single unseen hand and pull the plug on the false brilliance that has kept humanity distracted from its true source. This coming blackout is not a mere interruption of power. It is a divine reset, an intentional act from the realm of eternity, designed to strip away counterfeit illuminations so the authentic light may be revealed. For too long, people have mistaken the artificial for the eternal, chasing the glow of neon signs, the glare of devices, the spotlight of man's approval, and the flicker of worldly success. But when all these manufactured lights go out, the soul will be confronted with the truth it has long avoided, that without the inner flame of God, no external light can guide you through the night. This divine reset will seem, to the unprepared, like chaos. Markets will tremble, communication will halt, and the rhythm of everyday life will grind to a halt. But for the chosen, it will be the sweetest silence they have ever known, for they will hear in that stillness the voice of the Almighty whispering direction, comfort, and revelation. God has not brought you this far to abandon you in the dark. Rather, He is using the dark to show you what light truly is. The blackout is not a punishment. It is a mercy, a moment of cleansing in which God removes the false lights that have been keeping you from seeing the fullness of His glory. Think of it as the pruning of a tree. What is cut away is not the life, but the weight that was preventing the life from flourishing. The blackout is heaven's declaration that the old patterns have run their course, and a new order is being established. In the absence of the usual distractions, the mind will be forced to turn inward, and that is exactly where God has been waiting to meet you. You will come to realize that what you thought was keeping you alive, your routines, your technology, your connections, were often keeping you numb, keeping you blind to the miracles unfolding in the unseen realm. In this divine reset, God is recalibrating not just the flow of energy to your home, but the flow of energy to your soul. He is stripping away the counterfeit so that when He turns the light back on, you will know without a shadow of doubt that it was never the bulb, the grid, or the system that kept you alive. It was His power all along, and when the light returns, it will not simply illuminate what was, it will reveal what has been changed, transformed, and birthed in the quiet. Many will panic, run, and hide when the darkness falls, but you, chosen one, will stand still and know that He is God. You will not see the blackout as an ending, but as an awakening, and when the lights of man return, they will no longer blind you, for you will have seen the greater light that shines from within. This is why the blackout is a divine reset. It is God's way of closing one chapter without asking permission from the world and opening a new one with His own pen. It is a holy interruption, a pause before the next movement of heaven's symphony. And in that pause, those who belong to Him will be reset, not to who they were before, but to who they were always meant to be. The question is not whether the blackout is coming. The question is whether you will be ready to receive what it brings, because for the chosen it will not be the night you feared. It will be the night you finally saw. God's silence speaks louder than the world's noise, chosen one. When the blackout falls and the world's noise is swallowed by the deep silence of God, you will witness something the busy and distracted cannot comprehend, the sacred language of stillness. For too long humanity has drowned in an ocean of sound, the constant buzzing of devices, the endless chatter of voices, the relentless pounding of news cycles, and the ceaseless hum of a world afraid to pause. Yet in blackout, that noise will be cut off at the root, and in its place will rise the voice of the one who has always spoken. but who can only be heard when the noise is gone. God does not compete with chaos. He waits until the shouting ceases before he reveals his whisper. That whisper carries more power than the roar of the world, for it is not meant for the ears but for the spirit. It pierces deeper than any word spoken in public squares, for it comes from the same breath that spoke creation into being. In that silence the chosen will feel the weight of eternity pressing gently yet firmly upon their hearts. The absence of outer sound will make the inner sound undeniable, and you will find yourself recalling truths you forgot you knew. The scriptures will rise within you unprompted. Old promises God made to you in quiet moments years ago will suddenly come alive again. You will realize that his silence has never been the absence of communication. It has been the purest form of it. When the lights go out and the voices fade, many will panic, for they have built their sense of security upon the constant stimulation of the senses. But the chosen will understand. This is holy ground. God's silence is not emptiness. It is the fullness of his presence waiting to be discovered. In the stillness you will perceive what the noisy could not, that God has been arranging pieces in your life with precision while you were distracted by the clamor of the temporary. The blackout will make it impossible to ignore the one who has been knocking on the door of your spirit. You will feel the stripping away of everything that is not him, not because he wishes to deprive you, but because he desires to fill you. His silence in that moment will be like a sculptor's pause measuring, envisioning and preparing the next strike that will shape you into the vessel he has destined you to be. The world is terrified of silence because silence forces you to face yourself, and in facing yourself, you either confront the emptiness you've tried to avoid or discover the divine fullness you were created to live in. The chosen are not afraid of this confrontation, for they know that in God's silence the deepest transformations occur. Words can instruct you, but silence can recreate you. And when the Creator chooses silence, it is not because he has withdrawn. It is because he is creating something so profound it demands the quiet of the soul to receive it. Think of how seeds grow, not in the noise of the marketplace, but buried deep in the silent soil, away from sight, where the dark is not death but gestation. The blackout will be your soil, chosen one. The silence will be your womb, and what God births in you there will be unshakable. When the noise eventually returns, you will no longer be at its mercy, for you will have learned to hear God above it. His voice will have etched itself into your inner being so clearly that no level of chaos will be able to drown it out again, and you will walk forward in a new kind of authority, not because you shouted louder than the world, but because you learned to listen better than it ever could. The day will come when those who feared the silence will seek you out, drawn to the peace and wisdom you carry. They will ask how you remained calm when the world went dark, and you will tell them, I did not lose my way, for I was guided by a voice that cannot be silenced. This is the hidden power of God's silence. It does not weaken you, it fortifies you. It makes you a lighthouse in a stormy sea, not because you made yourself strong, but because you learned to receive the strength that flows in stillness. And so, chosen one, when the blackout comes, do not fight the silence. Welcome it. Enter it. Let it strip away the false noise you've called comfort and replace it with the eternal frequency of heaven. For in that quiet you will find that God's silence speaks louder than the world's noise, and it will speak not just to you, but through you for the rest of your days. Separation of the chosen from the distracted chosen one, the coming blackout will not only plunge cities into physical darkness, it will draw a sharp, unmissable line between those who live by faith and those who have been leaning entirely upon the fragile crutches of the world. For years, the chosen have walked a different path, often unseen, often misunderstood, enduring seasons where they were set apart and stripped of comforts everyone else seemed to enjoy. Those years were not without purpose. They were training for this very moment. When the blackout falls, the distracted will scramble like insects when a stone is lifted, exposed to the reality they have long ignored, their dependence on constant stimulation. On the endless trip, feed of worldly reassurance will leave them disoriented, fearful, and confused. But for you, chosen one, this will not be disorientation. It will be confirmation. For a long time you have been living without leaning on the same lights they trusted. You have been forced into wilderness where God became your compass, your provision, and your voice. You have already learned to hear him without the noise, to see him without the spotlight, and to move without visible confirmation. This blackout will reveal the difference between living from the inside out and living from the outside in. The distracted have built their lives around what can be seen, touched, and heard by the flesh. The chosen have learned to build upon what is unseen, eternal, and unshakable. When the physical lights fail, those without inner light will stumble, but those whose oil has been kept full will shine all the brighter. This is the moment where the parable of the wise and foolish virgins comes to life, not as a distant teaching, but as a living reality. The wise are not wise because they avoided difficulty. They are wise because they prepared for it. Every trial, every season of isolation, every night you spent wondering why God was stripping so much from you was in fact filling your lamp with the oil you will now need. The distracted have filled themselves with noise, while the chosen have filled themselves with truth. The distracted have sharpened their eyes to see trends, markets, and social movements, but the chosen have sharpened their inner sight to see the hand of God moving in the unseen. And when the blackout falls, that inner sight will be the only navigation available. The separation will not be in wealth, in status, or in outward appearance. It will be in stability. In that moment it will become painfully clear who has been rooted in the rock and who has been planted in sand. The winds of fear will blow hard, and the tides of uncertainty will rise, but the chosen will remain unshaken because their foundation was never built on electricity, communication systems, or the world's order. Their foundation was built on the living word and the unchanging character of God. The separation will also expose motives. Many who claimed faith will be revealed to have built their trust on blessings rather than the blesser. When the blessings appear to vanish, their faith will wither because it was never planted in God himself. But you, chosen one, will stand as a testament to what it means to belong to him, not for what he gives, but for who he is. And in that stance you will become a lighthouse to those who are drowning in fear. This is why your isolation, your pruning, and your preparation were necessary. You were not being punished, you were being positioned. The distractions of the world are powerful, but the training of the chosen is stronger. This blackout will separate not to harm, but to clarify, to draw a line in the sand so that all can see who truly walks by faith. Do not be surprised if people who mocked your devotion, questioned your choices, or distanced themselves from your discipline now come running to you in the darkness. For while they were distracted, you were preparing, and now, when they are lost, you will be ready to lead, not because you sought leadership, but because you learned obedience. The separation is not just about them and you, it is about God's order. He is setting apart those who will carry his light into the next chapter of history. The blackout will be the moment of unveiling, and you will not need to prove anything. The fruit of your preparation will speak for itself. Remember this, separation always precedes elevation. The line drawn in the darkness is the same line that will mark the doorway into what is coming next. And when the world sees the stability, the peace, and direction in you during the blackout, they will know you were not just spared from the distractions, you were shaped by the discipline of the unseen. This is the hour when the chosen are revealed, and the distracted are awakened to the reality they ignored. Stand firm, chosen one, for this separation is your sign that your assignment is about to unfold in full. Inner vision becomes the only light, chosen one. When the great blackout descends and the familiar glow of the world's lights vanishes into a sudden, heavy darkness, you will understand a truth that has always been whispered by the Spirit, that the truest light is not found in lamps, screens, or stars, but in the vision God has placed within you. The masses have been taught to navigate by external beacons, schedules dictated by the sun, decisions guided by public opinion, comfort dictated by what the eyes can see. But when the blackout comes, the outer lights will fail, and the only guidance left will be the inner flame that has been kept alive through faith, obedience, and communion with the Most High. This is the moment where all the training God has taken you through in the unseen will prove to be your lifeline. The vision he has given you is not mere imagination. It is divine illumination, capable of guiding your steps when all physical sight is rendered useless. For years, the chosen have been misunderstood for seeing what others could not, for moving in directions that made no sense to those walking by natural sight. You were called stubborn, unrealistic, or even delusional, but you were not walking blindly. You were following a light that did not depend on electricity or the world's systems. And now, as the blackout swallows the familiar, that light will become your only compass. Inner vision is not born from comfort. It is forged in seasons where you had nothing to hold on to except the word God whispered to you in the secret place. It is the unshakable knowing that, though the path ahead may be invisible to the natural eye, every step has already been mapped out by the one who sees them. And from the beginning, in this blackout, the outer world will panic because they have lost their ability to see where they are going. But you, chosen one, will move forward with a quiet confidence, for your eyes were never dependent on the world's light. You will see with the eyes of spirit, eyes that pierce through the darkness because they are lit from within by the fire of God's truth. Inner vision is not simply about direction, it is about perception. While others see only a void, you will see opportunity. While others perceive danger, you will perceive divine alignment. While others hear only the deafening silence, you will hear the orchestration of heaven arranging events in your favor. And it is this perception that will set you apart and enable you to navigate not only your own journey, but to lead others who are stumbling in fear. Many will be paralyzed because they cannot see the way ahead, but you will remember that true vision was never about the eyes. It was about the heart aligned with God's mind. The world calls it instinct or intuition. The chosen know it as the leading of the Spirit. The blackout will test whether you have been walking by sight or by faith. Those who have relied solely on outer light will find themselves lost, but those who have cultivated inner vision will walk paths only God could reveal. And in this darkness you will discover something powerful. The less you rely on outer light, the more vividly your inner vision shines. What was once a faint flicker will blaze like a torch, because the absence of the false lights makes room for the brilliance of God's light to dominate your inner horizon. This vision will not be a random collection of thoughts. It will be precise, strategic, and deeply personal, tailored by heaven to your specific calling. You will find yourself guided to people, places, and opportunities that would have been invisible had the world remained lit and noisy. God will use the blackout to remove the competition for your attention, so that the only direction you can follow is His. And as you obey, you will find that the path unfolds step by step, not in one grand revelation, but in a series of quiet, certain leadings that keep you anchored in His will. Remember this, in the absence of outer light, every wrong step is magnified, which is why those without inner vision will be consumed by hesitation, but you will not hesitate, for you will know that your steps are ordered by the Lord. The blackout will reveal that the chosen have been living in a different kind of light all along, one that does not fade, one that cannot be cut off by power grids, one that cannot be stolen by governments or circumstances. This light is your inheritance, and in this hour it will not only guide you, it will draw others to you. People who once dismissed your unseen guidance will seek you out, asking how you are able to move with such certainty in the dark. And you will tell them the truth, that the only light worth trusting is the one God Himself has placed within you. Chosen one, the blackout will not hinder you. It will free you from the illusion that you ever needed the world's light to begin with. It will strip away the dependency on what can be switched off, so you can fully embrace the eternal flame that burns in the core of your being. And when the world's light eventually returns, you will not return to the old way of seeing. You will have learned to live by a higher light, and you will never again be led astray by the glitter of the false. This is the gift of the blackout. It forces you to trust the inner vision until it becomes the only light you know, and once you have walked by it, you will never want to walk by anything else again. Prophetic fulfillment and preparation, chosen one. The massive blackout is not a random disruption, nor is it an accident born of human error. It is a prophetic event written into the script of time long before you took your first breath. Every prophetic move of God carries both a signal and a summons, a signal that something long promised is unfolding before your very eyes, and a summons to prepare for what comes next. This blackout will serve as both. It is the physical manifestation of a spiritual truth, that the old systems are collapsing, the false lights are being extinguished, and a new order is being birthed under the authority of heaven. You have felt this stirring for years, haven't you? A quiet awareness that the patterns of the world were shifting, that the structures everyone trusted were more fragile than they appeared. that God was about to step into the visible realm with undeniable power. You have been sensing in the marrow of your spirit that you were being positioned for something far greater than your present circumstances, and now that positioning will make sense. The blackout is the trumpet blast before the battle, the tearing of the veil before the revealing, the shaking of the ground before the emergence of the new. It is a prophetic fulfillment of promises God made to his people, that he would separate the light from the darkness, not just in the sky, but in the hearts of men. This is why you have been in seasons of stripping, refining, and stretching. The preparation for this hour began long before the lights go out. God does not prepare you for comfort, he prepares you for purpose, and in this blackout your preparation will prove essential, because the unprepared will be searching for guidance, for direction, for hope, and you will carry it. Not because you are better, but because you obeyed when he told you to be ready. Prophecy always comes with responsibility. The fulfillment is the visible part, but the preparation is the hidden work that ensures you can withstand the weight of what is coming. This is why your wilderness seasons mattered. They taught you how to move when the map was unclear, how to hear God's voice when there was no confirmation, how to keep faith burning when there was no outer proof. All of that was rehearsal for this exact moment, when the darkness falls and the only certainty is the word he has placed in your spirit. And understand, this prophetic fulfillment is not just about what God promised you personally, it is about what he is doing in the earth. The blackout is a divine signpost announcing that we have entered a new phase of history, where the old ways will no longer work and the dependence on man's systems will be exposed for what it is. Those who have been clinging to the temporary will find it failing them, but those who have been clinging to the eternal will rise with strength. You, chosen one, are not to be caught in the panic. You are to be a beacon in the preparation. This means having your heart anchored, your mind clear, your faith unshaken, and your spirit sensitive to the Spirit's leading. Preparation in this hour is not just about physical readiness. It is about spiritual alignment. It is about knowing your assignment, recognizing your divine connections, and being in the place God has called you to be when the lights return. For when they do, the world will not be the same. Prophetic fulfillment always ushers in prophetic responsibility, and that responsibility will require courage, discernment, and unwavering obedience. The blackout is the bridge between the old season and the new, and your preparation is what will carry you across it. In the days of Noah, the preparation looked foolish until the rain began to fall. In your day, your preparation may look unnecessary until the darkness descends. But when it does, everything you have stored in prayer, in fasting, in studying his word, in building your inner vision, will become the very tools you need to lead, protect, and guide others through the transition. This is why you cannot afford to be distracted in this hour. The prophetic fulfillment is already in motion. Every delay you thought was holding you back was actually God aligning you with his perfect timing. The blackout will not be the end, it will be the announcement that the next chapter is here, and when it comes, you will not need to scramble because you will have been living ready. Remember, chosen one, prophecy is not just a glimpse of the future, it is an invitation to prepare for it, and your preparation is not wasted, for it is the very thing that will allow you to stand unshaken while others are swept away by fear. The blackout will reveal who is living for the moment and who is living for the mission, and when the light returns, those who are prepared will find themselves positioned for influence, impact, and divine assignment. This is why the coming blackout is both prophetic fulfillment and preparation. It fulfills what God has spoken and prepares you for what he is about to do next. Do not see it as a crisis, see it as a confirmation, for the same God who announced it is the God who hath already equipped you to stand in it, and to emerge from it carrying the light the world desperately needs.